I'm going to continue with the classic Battlestar Galactica theme and start talking about the novels. I'm Joe, and welcome to Starbase Nerdtron. So, I recently scored a collection of what I think is all of the Battlestar Galactica novels. Um, there are 14 in the set that I have. I think that's everything, and I've been starting to go through them. I've read the first four so far, and I wanted to share some insights into these things because they're fascinating products of their time. Uh, they are credited to um, Glenn Larson and Robert Thurston, and the later ones have another. Some of them have another uh, co-author listed, but they all have Glenn Larson's name on it. And I'm not sure just how much direct work he did on the novelizations, or whether that was just part of the marketing of them. There are some very fascinating differences between the novel version and the TV show. And the most glaring of these is the Cylons. Because in the books, the Cylons aren't robots. The Cylons are actually living creatures. They are, very alien. They have multiple brains. As you get promoted in Cylon society, they actually give you a second brain. And the Imperious leader has a third brain. They have, they wear these close-fitting metal armored suits, which is kind of a throwback to the Cylons that we know from the TV show. And the helmets that they wear have the red eye beam that goes back and forth. So I'm not sure if that was supposed to be the original intent and it just got simplified for TV, or if that he wanted to make it a little different than the TV or whatever. Interestingly, in the original episode, in the pilot, the Saga of a Star World, they mentioned that the Cylons used to be a race of reptiles. Well, these are not reptiles, but they do have that kind of link to the um, to the fact that they are organic in origin. And if you look carefully at the Imperious leader, he doesn't look like a robot. He looks like a reptile. But then later on, Lucifer says that he and the Imperious leader are of the same series, so the Imperious leader must be a robot. And later on, they also say that um, his voice was programmed in Count Ibli's voice was programmed into the Cylon Imperious leader 1,000 yards ago. So it's obvious that he's supposed to be a robot. But anyway, I digress. Um, so I the aside from that, there are some interesting things about the books themselves. Um, they all have, at least the first four that I've read, all have the same structure. There's a straight out novel, like we'd be used to, but then it's interspersed with personal notes from one of the characters, looking at it from within the story itself. So in the first one, there are the Adama journals, for example. Um, in another one, there's Serena's recording a video, because they really lean into the fact that she used to be a TV reporter in the colonies, and so on. So every one of them, Croft has a journal in the one that's based on done on Ice Planet Zero and so forth. So they always have this sort of internal observer making commentary on what's going on in addition to the thing, which is an interesting way to structure it. And it kind of gives you the opportunity to have both the omnipotent viewer, which is the regular narrative, but you also have then the you can hear the internal monologues as they're being written down, but it's an imperfect narrator, because it's somebody who's might have might be altering the story to suit their own point of view. So it's a fascinating way to do it from a writing standpoint. Um, the first, they do cleave pretty closely to the plots of the novels, but of the TV shows, but because they're novels, you're obviously going to get some more material. First in the sense of those journals that I mentioned, but just in general, there's little things here and there. Uh, the colonial technology is seems to be more advanced, or at least we see more of advanced parts of it. For example, there's like this holographic. Um, uh, uh, there's almost a holodeck on the Galactica, and Starbuck goes there once, and there's this. holographic almost counselor that's there and talks to him and so forth. And in another one of the novels, the Imperious leader actually has a holographic Starbuck that it talks to, to kind of discuss things and try to get an insight into human behavior and so forth. It's very interesting that they the directions they take some of the things. Um, Another interesting thing about this is they're out of sequence. They do not in any way follow the sequence of the TV show episodes. So, for example, obviously the first one is Saga of a Star World, but then we have the Cylon Death Machine, which is their version, the novelized version of Gone on Ice Planet Zero, which doesn't happen for quite a while. Then we have the Tombs of Kobol, which is Lost Planet of the Gods. Then we have the Young Warriors. An interesting thing about this is that in the novelized version, it is not the father of the children who is imprisoned. It is, in fact, the mother, which is very, very interesting. And there's a secret pass. There's a secret passage into the castle, just like in the TV show, but it goes into jail cell. So she's staying there sort of on purpose, and the daughter goes and visits her on a regular basis without the Cylons knowing, which is just a very odd way to do things. But and in this version, um, uh, the children are actually fooled by Spectre's trick with the dummy in the boat and so forth. So they do make some very different choices narratively in the novels than they do in the TV show. Um, and but on the whole, they do kind of follow, you can recognize the plots. It's not different, but it's just very interesting to see the differences in what is presented here. There, if you can track them down, they're definitely worth getting. And I will keep you posted as I keep reading through the stack of the new ones. But for example, the next one in the series, number 5, is Galactica Discovers Earth, which is actually based on a Galactica 1980 episode. So there's all kinds of sequencing issues that don't make a lot of sense. But who knows what decision what the decision making process was in terms of the publishing by what is it, Ace, um, uh, Valentine, it looks like. So who knows what was going on there in terms of when they would put which one out and when they came out and so forth. So, for example, this one, Galactica Discovers Earth, is published. It's Berkeley. It's published in how does it not have a copyright? That's Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's first edition, December 1980. So they came out after the TV show, except for the first one, I believe would have been current with it. Um, 1978. Yeah, so this would have been when the first one came out. But it's on the whole, they're fascinating to watch, to read. Especially if you're a big fan of the TV show. So if you can find them, do jump on them. They're not that expensive, but they are rare to find. So which is kind of a paradox. But definitely do check them out if you're a fan. So anyway, hope you like this one. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you all later.